can see this everywhere. It's kind of like I said, the TSA will be at highway checkpoints. Now it's happening. It's like, Alex, what's the big deal with a TSA checkpoint? You know, it's just illegal. It's warrantless. It's the feds out of their jurisdiction. What? Oh, you said it was coming and it came, fearmonger. You're right. Man, that's shameful that you're right. I'm like, but I'm right. How is that? I mean, they announce in hundreds of publications. Just that video we played last week. CNBC host admit that world government is run by bankers and we're slaves to them. It was a paraphrase of the headline. You can pull it up with that. In fact, guys, if you can't put that on screen, I want to show people when we get a chance. Under it's like 40 articles just that the computer saw that were similar that we posted. Financial Times, video clips of the head of the EU, Herman von Rompuy, saying world government, new world order run by banks, Economist magazine. And then you call up and say, like the national media does. I mean, I had CBS News here just last week, and they said, so you believe there's a global government being formed? And I was like, I don't believe anything. It's public. It's like when I had Nightline here. They go, you believe there's a world government? Where did you imagine this? And I'm like, let me go show you a bunch of documents and Parliament and Congress. Let me show you. And they're like, no, we don't need to look at that, Alex. We want to hear your opinion. So they can say it's my opinion. And so, okay, I mean, if people... It'd be kind of like if you called in and you said, what's your proof that abortions are taking place in the U.S.? It's so well known there's been 50+ million abortions since 1973. Roe v. Wade, do I need to prove to you there are abortions taking place? Or like, Alex, I heard you say there are McDonald's in the United States. Prove to me there are McDonald's. And I'm just like, I don't even know what to say to that. I understand they said none of this existed. So now that they've emerged with it, it's kind of freaking folks out. So any mental gymnastics that are needed to get you over that hump work. But let me just give you 2 examples of censorship today in front of me. One of them, Secret Service shuts down Fire Eric Holder protest. Folks, I have been outside the White House with a national film crew for the Independent Film Channel at the park 200 yards away, at least. That's the shot they wanted with the White House in the background, and had police and security guards come over and say, in America, I can't even have a camera, and threaten to arrest us over and over and over again. I've been at the Washington Monument, not even up by it on the steps, but down the green grass shooting video, time-lapse that you see in films like Fall of the Republic. Police come over and say, you can't do that here. And I go, what's the law? And they go, the law is I'm going to arrest you. I'm like, come on, man. You want to live in a free country, don't you? You got to, I mean, this is on tape. Okay, you're getting one more shot, Jack. And I'm like, okay, because I want to finish doing my report. But what you're doing is wrong. Whatever. And they have satisfaction. They have satisfaction when they tell you. And it wasn't just me. I saw them doing it to little families. Little families were walking around in front of the White House, and they would come over and just get in their face. They'd have like Secret Service guys, but in like little T-shirt, pants, uniforms, ride up on a bike and come on and go, can't do that, can't film. And they'd be like, we're here from Indiana. Can't do it, turn it off, turn it off. And then cops would run over. I mean, this is what our country, it's like North Korea. It's like North Korea. Side issue. Here it is. Beltway confidential blog at the Washington Examiner. U.S. Secret Service officers shut down a student-led protest calling for President Obama to fire Attorney General Eric Holder this morning, according to a report from in front of the White House. And it goes on, after discovering a suspicious package. I know they always use that. The Secret Service ended the protest. See, Putin just says, hey, I'm authoritarian, and I don't like protest against me, so I'll have you arrested because they won't issue the permit. Here it's a suspicious package. Yeah, right. Several agents seemed hostile to our march and seemed anxious for us to leave the area. Maurice Lewis, a University of California student, told Campus Reform. The discovery of the unidentified package came just as the protest began to gain traction. Oh, yes. Again, that's the national security state. The U.S. House Representative cited Holder for contempt of Congress on Thursday after he defied a subpoena demanding documents pertaining to Operation Fast and Furious. Let me go forward. When I was at, and we have this on video. We could go pull up the raw video. I'm at the Supreme Court. I'm like, oh, the Supreme Court's over there. Let's get some file footage of that. So we pull up and park in a designated parking space down the street, walk up, and I hadn't even crossed the street yet to try to get footage of the Supreme Court, but it's really a small building, so we wanted to be back across the street so we could get the whole thing. And one of their federal officers, and these were actually federal officers, runs over and says, you can't film the Supreme Court building. And so I said, okay, well, we're just going to move along. And then later I came back because we went up and shot some more video. And then I went up to the steps and a guy jumps out of the shadows. Now I was on it, starts yelling at me. But I tried like the Obi-Wan Kenobi angle. I said, wow, well, we're just doing this for our show in Austin, and it sure would be neat. I mean, I knew he couldn't stop me from filming. I knew it was public property. I hadn't gone inside, none of it. But instead of doing that, I just talked to him like he was a 5-year-old. And I went, gee, I'm from Austin and just really neato, and I just really would like to give footage. Can I just have 1 minute? And I kind of bowed a little, just literally. I just, he was like, no, yeah, you can, but just 1 minute. And I went, okay, guys, get your footage, just 1 minute. So this is my country. But it's like, oh, there's a new world order. I mean, how could you be on YouTube if they're, we're set up with government funding? Because the government wanted to dominate the web, and they want everyone on the platform first, Google and their subsidiary YouTube, in advertising, telecommunications, everything, so they can control it and track everything you're doing. Because it's a two-way. I saw an article yesterday. Your Kindle is reading you. It's reporting on what you're doing and tracking what you read. All of this stuff does it. It's designed to two-way. I'll use a Lord of the Rings analogy. You're looking into the crystal. One of the hobbits has got one of the crystal balls. He's like, oh, I can see what's going on distant lands. And Gandalf throws a hood over it and goes, it sees both ways. You don't know who else is watching. You understand that? Well, Google calls it a crystal ball. In fact, about 10 years ago, I developed this term. I don't know if it's a loop back or whatever, but minds think the same thing. But I said it's a crystal ball over the horizon predictor that was predicted by Isaac Asimov in his Foundation series back in the 1940s. Genius. He just come up with the laws of robot, didn't just develop the name robot. Isaac, see, now I'm ranting. Son, you asked me a question. I can give you the answer. It's about a 50-year treatise on the nature of reality, history, integrated field systems of human development, sociology, anthropology, psychology. But let me answer your questions quickly because I got to get to news. We have a guest coming up and I want to get to calls. Let me just give you the long and short of it. Google is running censorship models for other governments. Google wants everybody on board, so at first it's free and open until they dominate. Now they're moving into the phase of censorship, and we've had the Obama deception taken down. We've had countless things blocked. We've had footage we show that everybody else is allowed to show. They take our channel down. I have filed in federal court. I don't make a big deal out of this. It's got to be like 10 times now. Swearing in federal court and things that... Because when they take you down for copyright, you have to go file, and you're swearing in that jurisdiction. And I've had to have lawyers. I've had to go through hell to stay on YouTube. Okay? And then you call in here and go, oh, if there's a new world order, as if there isn't one being announced, and as if our definition of the new world order isn't exactly what I said it was for 17 years. Because I read None Dare Call It Conspiracy. Not because I discovered this. Written in 1971, before I was born, Gary Allen, whose son is at Politico working for the New World Order now. I'll tell you, he's going to be rolling over his grave. That really is hurtful. Gary Allen and Larry Abraham, they write this book explaining how the mega bankers control big government to shut down their competition, and how the whole program would work, and how they would set up a global government of and for the banksters that you pay your taxes to. It's now here. They now admit it on the news. This book, by the way, is available at Infowars.com right now, or Infowarsshop.com. But my point is that here is today, or yesterday, this is in the news, Google shopping censors all gun, ammo, accessories results. We did Google shopping 2 years ago with I just remembered that's why I don't have an active Google account. I still have it, but posting to it was suspended 2 years ago when I had an Obama Joker poster, and Google found it to be racist that I was selling shirts talking bad about the president, and so my Google account was suspended. I forgot. And it was put in some hold function. That's why I get emails from them, but we can't use it. That's why. I forgot. It's worse than just this article. I just remembered we were kicked off Google Shop. I forgot because I was trying to operate in this monopoly, and it is a monopoly more and more, a oligopoly with other combines, but more and more an internet monopoly. Bordering, it's an oligopoly, duopoly, bordering on monopoly, that I have been censored by them. Bona fide over the Joker. In fact, we even did an article about that. And here it is from Firearms Blog, breaking it all down. Google shopping censors all gun ammo accessories results. And the letter and the link and their new policy that's public saying no, but scopes, holsters, nothing. And newspapers are saying you can't sell guns in them or even advertise your gun shop. And all of this, and you call in saying if there was this authoritarian system, here's the final point, sir. They're not in full control yet, as I've said about 100 times in the last few months. They're trying to get a global government. They're trying to get a carbon tax. They're trying to get forced inoculation in. They're trying, and we're battling them as hard as we can over every square inch of this. And we need you to wake up to what's happened and to pick an issue and to fight for it, or we're going to lose everything. Okay? Authoritarianism is spreading worldwide. No real historians, no real anthropologists, no real sociologists, no real journalists deny that. NDAA, warrantless wiretapping. The CIA director 2 months ago saying at an NQTEL, that's the group that funded and started Google, CIA consortium public meeting, that yes, they are putting tech in all the new products to spy on us, including your dishwasher. And the smart meters are spying on you and controlling your thermostat. That's being announced. And all of this, and you are asking me if they had their New World Order, why I'm on air. We're trying to stop it. The New World Order is 9 months pregnant. And Mama looks like a giant demonic piranha with hundreds of millions dead under her belt in the last century. And her baby, if it gets born, is going to kill billions. And she's squatting on us right now, about to give birth to this monstrosity. And I hope to God you'll wake up and realize that and do something about it. They don't let you protest in D.C. now. You can go get a permit if you jump through months of hoops and go get a little stage on a green field somewhere, if they feel like it. They're ordering armored personnel carriers everywhere, checkpoints, all of this. And you're asking me, it's such feeble stuff. But I remember, that's programming, whether he's one of the operatives or been programmed by an operative program. That's the thing about programming. It's a repeat, is that they always say that. It's like, well, if it's such a big New World Order, the Daily Caller, as soon as I arrived at Bilderberg, runs up and says, Alex Jones, the Bilderberg group's so powerful, why are you able to protest it? Well, the British Empire was so powerful, how were we able to defeat it? Because our forebears would walk through the snow when their shoes had worn off and with the blood trails behind them. Because we used to be men. Because people understand that we're all flesh and blood. That's why the elite want to build up this giant technocracy against us.